Still need to be resolved, and frankly,
This year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare drug coverage and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
There are two disasters still unfolding overseas. In Indonesia, 6 people remain missing after heavy rain triggered landslides and flash floods on Sumatra Island. At least 17 people are dead. While in Hong Kong, at least 13 have been killed in a high-rise inferno still burning.
Excuse me.
The search continues in Virginia for a high school football coach who went missing last week, and now Travis Turner is a wanted man on charges of child pornography and soliciting a minor. President Trump keeps getting pushback in Colorado, where the administration is trying to transfer a convicted county clerk into federal custody. A bipartisan group of current county clerks in Colorado is urging Governor Jared Polis to keep Tina Peters in state custody. She will be up to a 9-year sentence for allowing illegal access to Mason County voting machines and a failed effort to prove they manipulated the ballots for the election from President Trump. He has repeatedly demanded her release. The Federal Bureau of Prisons sent a letter to Colorado's Department of Corrections 2 weeks ago requesting to take over Peters' custody. That's concerns. Colorado's Attorney General and the Mason County DA have asked Governor Polis to reject their request. Chris Foster, Fox News. We have an unemployment update. First unemployment dropped slightly last week down to 216,000. Number of people still collecting jobless benefits rose to 1.96 million. On Wall Street, stock futures are rising for day trading. I'm Davey Anthony, and this is Fox News. This is Viewpoint, a presentation of the News and Public Affairs Department of AM 1490 WHTV. We welcome your input on the issues of the day. You can contact us on the Viewpoint line by calling 875-1490. The opinions expressed by callers and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the management and staff of AM 1490 WHTV. And now, here's today's Viewpoint.
And good morning and welcome into the Wednesday morning Viewpoint. For this Wednesday morning, November 26th, also known as Thanksgiving Eve. I certainly hope you have a good Thanksgiving Day planned. This morning at 8 o'clock and from 8 until 1, and certainly until the supplies last. 200 boxes of food being given away by the Christian Services for Alabama, Christian Services for Children in Alabama. They are going to be at Elwood Christian Academy, the new location, the new campus, which used to be Meadowview, at 1512 Old Orville Road from now until 1 p.m. And that is going on as I speak. Okay. How do you feel this morning? Certainly hope you're doing well. The first segment of Viewpoint, I think I want to zero in on and listen to what the press conference on yesterday was, because we're so close to Montgomery. A lot of us shop in Montgomery, especially during the holidays. And so yesterday, Montgomery's police chief held his monthly press conference. And he is extremely visible. And of course, Montgomery does have its own unique set of problems, if you will. But as you know, I don't have to tell you that our proximity, being 50 miles away, is close. But not just that, you know, it's a lot of folks related. We got cousins and relatives and, you know, all kinds of relationships with Montgomery. So what happens there can affect us in some way or another. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of like to keep up with what they're doing. But this police chief, though, excuse me, in Montgomery, is very public relations conscious. Let's see what he had to say on yesterday.
We do like to have these press conferences because we want to make sure that monthly we're getting in front of the camera, in front of the public, to let them know how we're doing, where we're going, and some of our plans moving forward in the future. And also to open it up for any questioning when we complete with a statement that we want to open with. So I want to thank all of you for being here. And I want to give you information that I want to pass on, that I want the public to know, and that I want everybody to be aware of. And also to talk about some things that have been disturbing me, and I want to get out there. On the front of where we are and what we're doing, over the past 28 days, the Montgomery Police Department has responded to 13,525 calls for service. This number reflects not only the volume of the need in our community, but also the unwavering commitment of our officers to serve and protect every resident of this city. Since October 15th, our officers have made 531 arrests. Since November 1st, we have issued more than 1,000 traffic citations. Among those 531 arrests, 59 individuals have been charged in relation to 116 felony cases. Each case closed. These numbers are not just statistics. They represent our proactive efforts to maintain order and ensure public safety. They maintain our practice and they show our ability to hold individuals accountable for their actions. Included in those 531 arrests, 6 individuals have been charged in connection with homicides. These are serious crimes that have deeply affected families and neighborhoods across Montgomery. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the victims and their loved ones. We see your pain. We are committed to seeking justice on your and their behalf. I want people to know that all of this is possible because of that hard work of the men and women of our department, the men and women of our patrol division, the men and women of our CID division, the men and women of every division working together to make these types of outcomes take place. We are never going to stop in our fight to keep people accountable and hold them accountable for their actions, no matter how old the case and no matter where it took place. For murder and attempted murder in the death of Eric Major that had taken place on July 16th in the 2200 block of East 6th Street. Kenyatta Johnson Sr. was charged with murder in the death of Kantaris Couch, which had taken place on August 4th in the 900 block of Charles Street. CID investigators, police officers arrested Curtavious Davis and charged him with capital murder in the death of Tamiko Coleman that had taken place on September 20th in the 4600 block of Virginia Loop Road. And in relation to the October 4th incident, our most recent arrest, Kiamonte Hood, who was charged with capital murder, 9 counts of assault first degree, and 3 counts of assault second degree in connection with that mass shooting that claimed the lives of Jeremiah Morris and Shalonda Williams. In addition to those cases, I'm going to address the 3 most recent homicides that we're working, because on Friday, November 21st at approximately 12:06 a.m., our officers responded to the 4600 block of Mobile Highway where they found Kashabe Perkins Jr., age 19, suffering from a life-threatening gunshot wound. He was transported to a local hospital where sadly he passed away. A juvenile male and an adult female were also injured in that incident. Now, we did recover some firearms in it, and we're going to be doing all of our due diligence in solving that case. On Monday, November 17th at 6:20 p.m., officers responded to the 100 block of Cortland Drive, where they discovered Zachary Hooks, age 25, deceased from a gunshot wound. And on Friday, November 14th at 4:46 p.m., we responded to the 3500 block of Fairground Road, where we found 15-year-old Tyrell Foster fatally wounded, and he died of his injuries. Each one of these homicides, whether we have solved them or whether we are working on them, both myself and my officers take personally. We do not stop. We do not pause. We do not rest until we get the folks responsible and put them in jail and charge them and prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. I want to make sure that people are aware of that. The tragedies are heartbreaking, and to the families of Kashabe, Zachary, and Tyrell, we grieve with you. We remember, and we will hold those responsible accountable. We have strong leads in those cases, and I am very confident that we are going to solve them. So I want people to be aware just not only where our hearts are, but where our efforts lie. Now, we do have things going forward as well. We're going into the holiday season. And as we do that, folks are going to notice that we are increasing our patrols in and around shopping centers all over the city. We're also organizing dedicated security details for various events that are going to be coming up for the holidays. For example, we're going to be working with Alabama State University Police Department in relation to the Turkey Day Parade. That's going to be happening right downtown in a few days. We're proud to partner with them. In fact, we want to ensure that everybody has a safe and welcoming environment for citizens and visitors to this city. But there's one issue that is really on my mind and I want to bring forward. It's something that I've been talking to a lot of people about, and it's one that I've been getting a lot of feedback from the public about, and it impacts gun violence in a very significant way. It literally affects every law enforcement officer and every citizen in the state of Alabama. Under the current constitutional carry law, individuals are not required to carry legal identification when concealing a weapon. This creates a dangerous loophole. It prevents officers from being able to legally verify who is lawfully carrying a firearm. This loophole prevents officers from being able to fully use the person's forbidden database in a proactive way to hold violators accountable. It puts the public at risk. It puts officers at risk. And it undermines the very foundation of responsible gun ownership. I believe in the right to bear arms. I'm not here to debate that. But we are here to demand that those rights come with responsibility and accountability. When officers cannot confirm identity, it makes it harder for them to protect the community in the most effective manner possible. That is a risk we cannot afford. I urge every citizen to have tough conversations. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your legislators, talk to your judges. Ask them what they're doing to make our communities safer. Because when it comes time to vote, the people in this state and in this community need to vote like lives depend on it, because they do. To the people of Montgomery, your police department is here for you. We are working every day to make our streets safer, our neighborhoods stronger, our city more united. We are here for you, all of us, and I don't want anyone to ever forget that. I'd say God bless Montgomery and God bless the great state of Alabama, and I will open it up for questions. Yes, sir.
When it comes to the constitutional carry and any potential change in the law, is there a particular legislature or legislators that you're working with?
I've been talking with multiple legislators in relation to drafting some type of bill related to it. See, my conflict is not with the idea of constitutional carry. My conflict is with an idea that doesn't allow us to identify the person who's carrying the weapon. If a person is trying to conceal their identity by purposely not carrying an ID when they're carrying a gun, and they're purposely trying to conceal that weapon, then you know they're up to no good. A law-abiding person is not trying to hide who they are at the same time as hide a weapon. So I believe people should be held accountable for that.
Chief, how often would you say that law affects a case or something you're investigating?
That loophole, because the law itself by itself is not the problem. The problem is going to be that loophole because there's no accountability on identification. And it affects us every day. We recently had a case where we had 3 folks walking down the street carrying guns concealed in their pockets. And only one of them we were able to take to jail. The other 2, we took their guns, but we had to send them on their way. Now, who knows what they were going to do afterwards? Being a requirement to carry a weapon to have a legal ID is imperative to us enforcing the law. It's imperative to us being able to use that database that allows us to determine if somebody is, let's say, on probation or on parole. Because if you don't have that ID, then when you're talking to that person, how do you know that they are who they say they are, or that they're the right age that they're claiming to be? When we find a juvenile, somebody underage carrying a weapon, we do charge them, with being in violation of carrying, because they're not, they're a certain person forbidden. But what's to stop, let's say, a 17-year-old from saying, hey, I'm 24 years old, and they don't have a license? I mean, to be able to really use that database for a practical way for the officers on the street, they need to have a law that allows them to say, show me your license if you're going to be carrying this weapon concealed.
Can you clarify what the current law is as far as stop and identify? My understanding is you have to do your name, but you don't necessarily have to show an ID unless you're driving or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, you could say you have to give your name, but how do you confirm that they're giving you the right name? If I know that I have 6 warrants for my arrest and the police stop me, 1, I'm not going to be carrying my license so they can confirm it, and 2, I'm not going to give my real name. It's common sense. A person who wants to carry a weapon in this state should be required to carry proper identification when they're doing it. That way law enforcement across the state can actually say, hey, this person is either on that list, which means I can hold them accountable, or hey, yeah, this is John Q. Citizen, and have a nice day, sir. What I'm proposing or asking to be filled in this loophole does not have any impact on a law-abiding gun owner in any way, shape, or form. But it does have an impact on the criminals who don't want us to know who they are and who want to walk around the street at 2 a.m. carrying weapons. If you're looking out your front window at 3 a.m. and you see somebody walking down your neighborhood street with an AR rifle, how safe are you going to feel? An ID requirement, I think, is essential to helping police officers be proactive in making arrests. Are there any other questions?
Chief Dolia recently announced they have participated or created a new unit called 0 to government license 585, also expanded their Capitol Police unit. Just talk about, what you've seen from state law enforcement, how much is it helping?
Yeah, I'm very appreciative of state law enforcement because they have always been a wonderful partner with us. I've always enjoyed working with not only their officers, but their agents as well. So I just appreciate it. I mean, the more is better, because the fact of the matter is I just read off to you some very impressive numbers of what we've been doing. And I saw their numbers and they look good as well. So that means that you have even that much more proactive law enforcement going on in our city, which makes things safer for everybody. So I am very pleased with it, and I look forward to working with them in the future and continuing to work with them. Are there any other questions? Well, good. That concludes, and y'all have a great day.
And that is the Montgomery police chief. As I've said, he is very, very, very visible. He has a monthly press conference, and he has brought some very important issues to light that he's put on the table. Let's take this break first, and I'll be back with more. Not after the Viewpoint intro, but right after this.
We're with Barry Parker and our friends at Reliable Chevrolet and GMC. 80 years, Barry.
That's right, George. We've been right here at the same location at 14th Lawrence Street. Also the same family, the Porter family. Bill is here and has his 2 sons, John and Will, and soon they'll be taking over. So there'll be a 3rd generation that has had the ownership of Reliable Chevrolet GMC.
Now let's talk about what's going on with Chevrolet and GMC. We're coming up on the end of the year. Big time discounts on these 25s that you got left.
That's right, George. We're moving them out right and left. If you're in the market for a 2025 model, let me encourage you to come down, get them while they're still available, because the 26s are here and we've got more coming. So we got to make room. Whatever your transportation needs are, we can take care of them right here. And let us get you fixed up so you can be riding today.
Not forget about the pre-owned side and service.
That's right. We've got all kind of makes and models on the pre-owned inventory, from cars to trucks to SUV. And when it comes to getting your vehicle service, we have the top service department in Central Alabama right here at Reliable Chevrolet GMC.
And is that 5th oil change still free?
Always free. Not just your first 5th, every 5th oil change. Regardless of how many vehicles you have in the family, each one stands on its own.
To get in touch with Reliable Chevrolet and GMC, what do we do?
872-2337, or check us out on our website at reliablegmc.com, or best, just come visit right here at 14th Lawrence Street in downtown Selma.
Reliable, where they truly have it all. in the brand new home of the foundation. Steve Johnson at Realty Plus.
Louise Walker. I have a message for anyone planning to remodel or renovate a contractor to do your job. I have an excellent man to recommend. His name is Steve Johnson. He has done 2 homes for me, and I'm well pleased with the results. Steve is a licensed contractor with many years of experience. He is very knowledgeable, honest, hardworking, and easy to get along with. He is fair in his pricing and takes great pride in his work.
Take down this phone number, 334-412-1939. Steve Johnson at Innovation Plus, licensed, bonded, and insured.
Auburn and Alabama collide for the 90th time under the lights at Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Coverage at 3:30, kickoff at 6:30, Saturday night, only.
That's going to be a game. Viewpoint, you're on the air. Okay, that caller's gone to the next line, and that caller's gone. 875-1490 and 1492 are the numbers to call if you have comments or questions. So that that we heard, that press conference was Chief James Grabois. I really I like him. He's pretty serious. He also had been the head of the director for public safety or the police chief at Alabama State. So he obviously is very familiar with Montgomery and its culture. And they seem to be getting some things done. But he brings up a really important point. And I keep hearing it more and more. You know, this is why people, I have real questions about, and especially having been formerly heavily involved in working with grassroots organizations and grassroots communities from here to New York and back, up and down the East Coast. I've been in small, large, medium-sized markets. Everywhere I've been, I've done the same thing and have advocated the same kinds of things. And so I don't understand why these activist groups, these so-called grassroots organizations, are not trying to help get people legal IDs. For me, that's the first line of defense, to have a legal photo ID. Never mind, I hadn't even talked about voting. You know, several years ago, they had a panel discussion, and what's his name? Al Sharpton was on the panel as well. They're trying to defend, the statistics said that 25% nationwide of the African-American community did not have a legal photo ID. And those so-called leaders were trying to defend it instead of trying to come up with a solution to how do you get that 25% down to 0. And then you have people that, well, you know, you got a few folks that will imply, well, people are not intelligent enough to get a legal photo ID. That's hogwash. I think Chief Grabois hit it on the head when he said some of these guys walking around with guns in their pockets and AR-15s intentionally are trying to hide their identities, hoping that they can get away. They're up to no good. And I think we need to listen to that. We need to pay attention to what he's saying. What's wrong with having a legal photo? You don't have to have a driver's license. They make non-driver's license. Where are these activists? Where are these grassroots organizations? Why are they not trying to help people get photo legal IDs that don't have one or can't? They say they can't afford one. But you can buy an ounce of weed, but you can't take the same money and get a non-driver's legal ID. And there's something wrong with that picture. I'm saying it. And for those people who say they're on the front line in boots on the ground, and I love the children, will prove it. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Good morning, Randy. How
buddy?
Yes, sir. How are you this morning?
I'm doing wonderful. I got a question. If you're walking down the road and doing nothing wrong, and the police pull you or stop you, are you there?
I'm listening. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You don't have to present an ID if you haven't done anything wrong. I mean, they've gotta have a reason to think you're breaking the law before you have to show ID, correct?
Well, yeah, but see, sometimes it's almost like people that are not transparent. The fact that you don't want to share information makes you seem suspicious. And I advocate, I don't care for my mother. When I was growing up, when I was in elementary school, I knew where I lived, I knew my address, I knew my telephone number and my parents' names, and I had some kind of ID on me. That's the first line of defense. And then you just, like you say, when that happens, well, if they ask you who you are, you pull out your ID and it's done. If you're innocent.
I agree with you. I would always do that, but I think the law says that you don't have to tell them your name or give them ID if you've done nothing wrong. If they don't have a legal reason for it.
And that's where it becomes. That may be gray area. I think in New York when Giuliani started the stop and frisk, that was why it was controversial. But crime went down by 90%. Violent crime went down by 90%.
But be that as it may, if the law says they don't have to have it, a lot of police departments have a reader, a fingerprint reader, and that's the way. If you're worried, if you've got, if you're on parole, if you've got warrants, and they don't have ID, they can read that thumbprint and run you through the system so they know exactly who you are. I would tend to think something like that would be better because you get a fake ID. I mean, I'm just saying you can circumvent.
Oh no, you got some master forgers out there now. They're masters at it. Yeah, I hear you, no doubt.
But I've had a gun since I was 18, a pistol, and never pulled it on anybody. I don't wear one very often. And I would have no problem showing my ID. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But I don't think the police have a right just to walk up if you've done nothing wrong and demand ID. I don't think.
Well, I think what happens, Steve, I hear what you're saying, but if you're walking down Broad Street at midnight or 2:00 in the morning by businesses and one of the burglar alarms goes off and you happen to be walking by, what then?
I think they have a right to stop and question if they have an idea that, first of all, if I'm down walking around at 2:00 in the morning, somebody's knocked me in the head and I don't know where I am.
Yeah.
My grandfather always said there was nothing on the street after 10:00 but dogs.
Golly. Well, and I say there's nothing good after midnight for sure, huh?
Oh, no, sir. I mean, we used to think it was when we were younger and running around.
I did too. I was out there too.
Thank goodness God gave us the ability to live a while and get some discernment.
Well, with me, it was through the grace of God that I'm still alive.
But I don't understand. They use this, I don't have an ID. I think we need to get back to one day is voting day, like it was when we were younger. One day, you all go out and vote. And I don't care if they make it a national holiday. But if you don't have the courage to get up and take your tail down there and vote, then these states that have pre-voting for 2 or 3 weeks, I mean, that's ludicrous. That takes away election day. It's not election month. And you need a photo ID if you can't get to the polls, I believe you can get a absentee ballot. But these mail-in ballots, that's just a way to fraud the system. And you know, I was taught, man, I voted when I was 18 the first time, and the voting booth was there. I used to go when I was little with my grandfather, and you know, it's patriotic to get out here and vote, and to, a lot of people don't have that right. And we muddy the water with all this mail-in ballots, ballot harvesting. You know, I think we ought to go back to a paper ballot like a lot of countries, France, that vote can be counted and recounted. I mean, and it be proven who you are, and because I think there's a lot of corruption in this country. I don't want to say it's the world, but there's a lot of corruption in this country, and we gotta make it hard for these people to scheme the system.
Well, the people that would refute what you're saying, the most passionate, if you look at it and dive deep enough, are the very people who want to steal elections, and they don't intend to be honest and fair.
Well, we've got to call them out for what they are, and you know, this Democratic Party is just phenomenal. The way they can go out and just make a scene and call, you know, they're telling you it's raining outside, and we look outside and it's blue sky, but they keep telling you it's raining and raining. For how long you believe it's raining? and a lot of people, we've got to be a country. We're not free thinkers anymore. We're giving ideas, and we take that in as fact, and it's pretty sad to see that we've gotten to be a country of sheep, actually. We just let around. And, you know, who would think that Jasmine Crockett was a statesman? But all she does is use foul language and talk about people. I mean, how is that being a statesman? How is that honorable? And you know, the Republicans do the same thing. We need to root these people out. Because when we were growing up, Randy, you had statesmen. I mean, when Ronald Reagan, when he gave a speech, you knew that was coming from the soul. But the Bushes, and they're all a dynasty family. They're all part of this elite group. There's a lot of them out there that, yeah, it's just sad to say that they fooled us into thinking they're one of us, and they're not. They're in that elite group, and they're always going to be in power, it seems like.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you start talking about power. And that's what it seems like everybody's interested in. I got some more folks trying to get through. You want to make a closing remark?
Hey, you have a blessed weekend, buddy.
Yes, sir. Have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Thank you for calling. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. It's raining outside.
Well, if you said it, it must be true, huh?
No, you better go look.
I know that's right. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's good to hear from you.
You better look for yourself, seek it out for yourself most of the time. But you know, people will lead you to the ocean and then put you in there.
I'm surprised at how much, how many people have become so violent and so angry, and it's like seems like it's getting worse by the day.
Absolutely. You know, when a law along would carry on concealed weapons without, idea or anything came up, we already had said that there was going to be a problem. And what it is a problem. Our government is not listening to us, our president is not listening to us, our Congress representatives are not listening to us, our mayor is not listening to us. How long we've been saying that we needed the city clean and violent cut down? And that's one of two of the main things that we were looking for. We never did get it. And put it have a you can
Hold on. Are you moving around? Because your signal's starting to waver a little bit. Because I want you to repeat what you just said. Yeah, your phone is messing up. But I think I heard you say that you were talking, because I was going to ask you, too, how you felt about it, what your opinion is on this whole issue about having legal photo IDs.
Well, you know, everybody need ID for anything, because people doing some of everything. I learned my sister, Social Security number by heart. I learned her birth, I always knew her birth certificate, because I did most of her business for her. But how many people you know have used somebody else's birthday and Social Security to get out of a ticket or get out of going to jail?
I don't know. That's a good question, but people will do it, huh?
All the time. So many siblings, they look so much alike. And even my sister, people tell me when we on the phone, we sound just alike. But if we totally different people. But if you don't know me, how do you know who I am unless you're looking at the ID most of the time?
Well, why do you think the groups that should be, the ones that should be these organizations that are so-called grassroots organizations that say they have the community's best interests at heart, I very rarely hear them do any kind of a drive in the community to get people to have legal photo IDs?
Very so. When I told you this before, I started campaigning when I was 15. First person I campaigned for was Hank Sanders. And from that day on, it's just been in my bones. But a lot of these, you hear the name, but you never see the people. They take up, you give them money sometimes, you never see any work they're doing. Sometimes you see some of them get out there and work, and then people won't come. I know a lady, she always has something for the youth. When you go in there, she might have 2 or 3 people up in there. And it's just sad. Free stuff, and people won't even come at it. I try to inform a lot of people on a lot of stuff I know. If a giveaway or something, I go. But it's just sad that, you know, people just don't do, and people won't come to, you know, things like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. You know, you made me reminisce, you know, the very first, my earliest memory of any political involvement was when I was 5 years old, and my mother was leading the march around what was called College Wall in North Philadelphia. It was a college that did not allow blacks to attend, and it was all white in the middle of a black neighborhood.
And back in those days, we didn't have the information that we have now. We didn't have transportation like we have now, and the people just sit at home. I work nights, and when they have some of these programs, I be wanting to go so bad. But I would wish they would screen it so we could see.
I was about to say, nowadays, you know, you can put it on Facebook, you can put it on Zoom. Everything else, they put all the smut, anything that's profane and nasty and filthy, you don't have a problem finding. But you won't go out of your way to help educate the community or inform the community. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. I'll have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Yes, ma'am. All right, let's take this break. I'll be back with more right after this.
We're with Thomas Reeves at the Co-op store. Let's not forget about sporting goods.
Yes, sir. If you haven't come and check out the sporting goods department in a while, you sure need to. We're fully stocked. Guns and ammo in all shapes and sizes, different caliber rifles for hunting, shotguns for bird hunting. We've got pistols. If you're into reloading your own bullets, we've got reloading supplies. We've got all the little knickknacks for hunting, scent killer, flashlights, backpacks, anything you need to get in the stand. Just come check out the sporting goods department. We're fully stocked and ready to go.
Everybody's welcome at the Co-op store. Graves on Broad has GE and hot point appliances on the floor ready for you to come see.
There's mattresses by Sealy, Ashley, and Capital. Gorgeous furniture for every room in your home, too.
Living room, dining room, and some one-of-a-kind pieces. Graves Furniture on Broad has been serving this area in the same location for over 60 years. Miss Margaret and Miss Lisa would be delighted for you to stop by. Open 9:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, 10 to 3 on Saturday. Graves on Broad. Furniture so nice to come home to.
Don't wait another day. Don't wait to get sick. Your vaccination destinations are Brown Drug, Dallas Avenue Pharmacy, Med Center Pharmacy, and Valley Grand Pharmacy at Dave's Market. Get the flu and pneumonia vaccines now before flu season arrives. And if you haven't had the shingles vaccine, now is the time. And you can get all of the vaccines at any of our convenient locations. If you haven't heard, the prescription laws have changed in Alabama, which now allows local pharmacies to be even more competitive with the national chains, meeting requirements of most insurance companies. If you had to give up your local pharmacy for a big box store, now is the time to come back home to your locally owned pharmacy. Brown Drug, Dallas Avenue Pharmacy, Med Center Pharmacy, and Valley Grand Pharmacy inside Dave's Market. Locally owned with pharmacists that know you by name, caring for you and about you, all a part of the Brown Drug family.
1490 WHBB. Yes, you maybe go back and think about some things. You know, my mother was the first Black woman to run for office in North Philadelphia. And she won the general election, but lost the primary. So I met Sidney Poitier when I was 9 years old. He did a movie called The Lost Man. I recently downloaded it because I couldn't find it for years, but now it's online. And it was really his first movie as a director. And it was filmed in Philadelphia. And I'll never forget meeting him. You know, he was really very pleasant and down to earth. I'm not going to go into all the details. But during that time, I was coming to Selma every summer. And then I moved here permanently at the age of 12 and went to Tipton and Selma High School in a year at Alabama Lutheran. So when I moved to Selma, I was already fully politically. I grew up in a family of politics, you know, and so I've grown up in it from the time that I was a child, and have continued even as an adult. Hey, now how you doing? Continued as an adult. Even when I went back to Philly, I went back and got engaged in organizing and educating and trying to help uplift people, you know. So everywhere I've been, it's been the same. I have a track record that's been documented, by the way. I've got some newspaper articles, and I got all kinds of stuff that if I ever had to produce it, you know, if I had to, but I don't get into that thing. I don't like to brag. It's more important, what have you done for me lately? You know what I'm saying? You got some folks that be talking about what they did 50 years ago. Well, what are you doing now? Are you helping anybody in any way? Are you trying to help educate people in any way? Are you trying to empower folks or yourself? You know, do you really serve God, or do you give it lip service? You know, and so a lot of people would want you to think that they are regular or Christians because they go to church every Sunday, but some of the biggest devils go to church every Sunday. I would rather see a sermon than hear one. You know, what's your walk? What's your walk like? So many of these problems that I see that many people have in the community can be solved, and some of them can be solved through our own actions. And I understand some of us don't want to be held responsible or accountable. It's becoming a foreign thing. But you know, one of my heroes, of course, is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And another one of my heroes is Thurgood Marshall. But you know, so is the Reverend James Orange, and so is Dr. C.T. Vivian. Those are some of my heroes. They walk the walk. And that's why when I hear some of the phony, I see people using some of the same tactics and strategies, but their goals are not the same. And some of the folks who are in elected office, they're so far away from serving the people. It's so obvious, you know, when you don't put your best foot forward to represent our community. To me, it's so obvious, you know, but it also speaks to their mentality that says, in other words, I intend to insult your intelligence. We better wake up. And I'm sure we will. Hopefully it won't be too late. And we got an election coming up. Here we go again in 2026. in Alabama. So I hope some of these organizations and some of these advocates and some of these talking heads will start emphasizing what's really important. And again, I think the first line of defense, starting as young as teenagers, is to have a legal photo, government issued ID. Why not? Let's take this last break. Be back with more right after this.
We're with Barry Parker and our friends at Reliable Chevrolet and GMC. 80 years, Barry.
That's right, George. We've been right here at the same location at 14th Lawrence Street. Also the same family, the Porter family. Bill is here and has his two sons, John and Will. And soon they'll be taking over, so it'll be a third generation that has had the ownership of Reliable Chevrolet GMC.
Now let's talk about what's going on with Chevrolet and GMC. We're coming up on the end of the year. Big time discounts on these 25s that you got left.
That's right, George. We're moving them out right and left. If you're in the market for a 2025 model, let me encourage you to come down, get them while they're still available, because the 26s are here and we've got more coming, so we got to make room. Whatever your transportation needs are, we can take care of them right here. And let us get you fixed up so you can be riding today.
Not forget about the pre-owned side and service.
That's right. We've got all kind of makes and models on the pre-owned inventory, from cars to trucks to SUV. And when it comes to getting your vehicle serviced, we have the top service department in Central Alabama, right here at Reliable Chevrolet GMC.
And is that fifth oil change still free?
Always free, not just your first fifth, every fifth oil change, regardless of how many vehicles you have in the family, each one stands on its own.
To get in touch with Reliable Chevrolet and GMC, what do we do?
872-2337, or check us out on our website at reliablegmc.com, or best, just come visit us right here at 14th Lawrence Street in downtown Selma.
At Reliable, where they truly have it all. No one likes to talk about it, but when that time comes, it's time to call Puddin'. When your septic tank needs to be pumped, or even worse, when you need to replace your fuel line. 334-518-9876 for old Puddin'.
1490 WHBB. But before I forget about it, I don't talk about myself and my past and history that much, but my mother was also, my late mother, was also an assistant to attorney Cecil Moore in Philadelphia, the legendary Cecil Moore. He was the president of the Philadelphia branch of the NAACP. And by the way, College Wall, after we protested and marched around College Wall and then went into the court system, it became the case that desegregated higher education and opened the colleges up and enforced them having to recruit minorities to the Ivy League, like Harvard and Yale and all these Ivy League schools. The first programs, whatever, I guess really they weren't called affirmative action at the time. I think they called it something else. But the first affirmative action came out of the case with College Wall, the one that I marched around the wall when I was 5, that my mother led. That's why when people talk a lot of the trash and junk, people talk. You know what I'm saying? I've been there. I've been boots on the ground, but I've also grown. That, as they say, is another story. Don't forget, today, 8 o'clock is when it should have started. Christian Services for Children in Alabama. See, these kind of things matter. They're giving away 200 food boxes to support those in need. If you're in need, take advantage of it. It's a walk-in. You don't have to have a car to drive, or you may have to get there, depending on where you live. This is in the old Meadowview Christian School. It's now Elwood Christian Academy, 1512 Old Orville Road, from 8 until 1 today, until I'm sure it's until they run out. First come, first served. So I really appreciate those are important. Those are the kind of things I'm talking about. You got to really You better really, when people start all this rhetoric, I want us to really start really sifting, like a flour sifter. You put the flour in the sifter and you just keep turning it. I don't know if those who are familiar with it, and you sift through so you get the junk out. So we're gonna have to start sifting through all of this garbage, that's in the rhetoric, to make sure we're putting the right kind of people in office. Because as Chief Grabois pointed out, lives are at stake. It matters. And so in the very near future, the good Lord willing, like I said, I'm going back to basics, including Dr. King and C.T. Vivian and Bernard Lapierre. I'm going to use the words from these people's mouth, and I'm going to let them tell us. Not this junk that we're watching unfold, this theater, the political theater, because that's what it is. I'm a thespian too, so I know theater. And unfortunately, it's far too much political theater that seems to be swaying people, but I don't think it is. I think much of the in my profession, much of the media, we've got to keep you eating. We got to keep you nibbling at what we do. So, some of the stuff we do though is just way past where it should be, I think. But maybe we'll get back to the basics. The media of the 21st century is not the media of the 1960s. Where are the Walter Cronkite's, of the world? Where are the Moreaus of the world? Those guys. Ed Bradley, Philadelphia. As a matter of fact, I worked at a station. He started at WDAS, in Philadelphia. Ed Bradley. He later went on to CBS fame and 60 Minutes. Respected journalists, a real journalist. Where are they? Because, I suspect what must have happened is when the Ed Bradleys and Walter Cronkite's, and I could go on through a few other names of the world, begin to reveal and educate their audiences about the truth on the university level. They say, well, we're not gonna grow another crop like that because we can't use them. And we can't manipulate the people with ignorance if those kind of guys are watching and keeping guard. If they're the guards, we can't have that. So we better start re-educating our journalists to another kind of journalism. And it's called editorializing. Editorializing means I'm doing my opinion, not fact-based journalism or reporting, opinion-based reporting. Case in point, I've been listening to different organizations. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Department of Defense is now the Department of War. But you listen, depending on what media, some of the media have not accepted the legal change, and they still refer to it as the Department of Defense, instead of the Department of War. That tells me that you are editorializing and that you have a political opinion, and your reporting reflects that, huh? Look, you have yourself a safe and enjoyable Thanksgiving. I'll see you Sunday morning for Gospel, Monday morning for the Great Awakening. Have yourself a safe and enjoyable Thanksgiving. Stay tuned for Fox News.
Just 40 flights canceled so far in the day before Thanksgiving travel rush. I'm Dave Anthony.